Hello, everyone, and welcome to another riveting episode of Call of Duty Black Ops Zombie Mode Weapons List. Alright, today we're talking about assault rifles. This is by far the largest list there is. There's the M14, the M16, the FN FAL, the G11, FAMAS, the Galil, the Commando, and the Auger. So let's look down the list and see what we got. First up, we have the M14. It's a semi-auto single-shot rifle. It holds 8 rounds and takes 4 seconds to reload. Now, this upgrades to the Amnesia. The upgrade has a larger ammo capacity and does more damage. Okay, well, the M14 is obviously the first rifle that you get in the game, if you choose to anyway. It's right in the first room on the wall on the top. It's not a bad weapon in the beginning. It's actually pretty powerful against the regular zombies. I mean, you see here, as long as my aim isn't completely off, I'm one-shotting through the head, and usually through the chest will be a one-shot too this early. But I mean, at later rounds, I find this weapon to be completely useless. I guess it's probably its primary use is going to be for the early rounds. But me personally, I like to skip the weapons in the first room and just go straight to the SMG in the next room, but I guess it's a personal preference thing. The upgrade is a travesty. It does absolutely nothing for me. When I upgraded this weapon, and I've only done it once, it didn't feel a whole lot more powerful to me. I didn't really see the point, and I mean, look here. I mean, it's round 12, but still, like, I know I'm hitting him, and they look like headshots, and he's still not dying. I guess the increase in ammo capacity helps, but yeah, later rounds, this weapon, useless. The M16 is a 3-round burst rifle. It holds 30 rounds and takes 3.5 seconds to reload. Now this upgrades to the Skull Crusher. The upgrade increases the damage, makes the weapon fully auto, and adds the M203 grenade launcher. The M16 is actually a pretty surprising weapon. I don't usually expect the off-the-wall weapons to be that great. The footage you'll see here, I'm in round 17 when I picked this up because I was desperate for ammo. And so in round 17, any off-the-wall weapon, you don't expect to have any effectiveness at all. But this is actually kind of holding its own. I mean, I'm struggling a little bit, but it's doing okay. It's very accurate, and I like that. And so in regards to the upgrade, making it fully auto suffers the accuracy a little bit, but overall it's still a good weapon. The 203 attachment, I don't really find much of a use for that. Grenade launchers, I mean, as you'll know from my first episode, I'm not really that big on it because you end up injuring yourself a lot with it, and it doesn't really have that much of an effect on this. But the increase in damage in the fully auto, yeah, it becomes a pretty good weapon, and it's usable in the later rounds. Okay, the FN FAL is a semi-auto single-shot rifle. It holds 20 rounds and takes 3.5 seconds to reload. Now this upgrades to the EPCWN. The upgrade adds a precision sight, has a larger ammo capacity, increases the damage, and makes the weapon 3-round bursts. Okay, so the FAL is not a terrible weapon, but I do have a few problems with it. Which is mainly the ammo capacity, only being 20 rounds. It's a little low for me for an assault rifle, but it's deadly accurate. It's pretty powerful. I guess it's pretty average, I would say, on the actual power levels. But yeah, it is really, really accurate. That's probably the main thing it's got going for it. The fact that it's single shot sometimes helps me to conserve rounds, but sometimes, like you'll see, I was just doing there, like I end up just laying on the trigger as fast as I can. Yeah, some other points about this is the upgrades, in my opinion, pretty much fix any problems that I have with the weapon. Makes a 3-round burst, and I do like the 3-round burst with this weapon. It increases the ammo capacity, so that fixes that problem for me. Increases the damage, and the damage gets increased enough that you can use this weapon in the later rounds. And although you make it 3-round burst, the accuracy doesn't suffer because you added a precision sight to it. So, yeah, this weapon actually becomes pretty good upgraded, and I like it. But the only time I'll pick this up out of the box usually is either if I'm desperate for ammo, which I'll pick up anything at that point. But if I already have the points to upgrade. If I pick it up and I'm like, you know what, I can just go ahead and upgrade this right away. Because I usually don't like using this weapon in its normal form. But in its upgraded form, this is actually a really good weapon, and I would recommend it. Okay, the FAMAS is a fully auto rifle. It holds 30 rounds and takes 3 seconds to reload. Now this upgrades to the G16 GL35. The upgrade adds a precision sight, increases the ammo capacity and damage. Okay, so I like the FAMAS. My only major complaint with it is that it feels underpowered, but it's a highly stable weapon. It's probably one of the most accurate fully auto weapons in the game. You'll see here, like, there's virtually no recoil, especially if you're bursting the weapon. I tend to do like 3 to 5 round bursts when I fire. But yeah, it does feel a little underpowered. But you see here with the upgrade, it increases the damage, and we're in a later round now, round 14, but it's doing a pretty good job at dropping the zombies. I like the precision sight. Sometimes I don't like when they add sights to these weapons if it limits your field of vision too much or whatever, but with this, I still feel like I can maneuver around. And yeah, I don't know, it just feels like a good weapon. I don't know if I could use this as like a main. But usually, I don't like having 2 fully auto weapons in the later rounds. I like having like 1 fully auto weapon and then maybe like the thunder gun or the ray gun or some kind of weapon that is powerful and, you know, different. I found that if you have the same kinds of weapons that you tend to have failures. And so maybe as like a secondary auto to like the ray gun or something like that, this would definitely work in the later rounds. But yeah, it's an effective tool. I like using it. Okay, the Galil is a fully auto rifle. It holds 35 rounds and takes 4 seconds to reload. Then it upgrades to the Lamentation. The upgrade adds a precision sight and increases the damage. Alright, now the Galil is not a bad weapon. I think it's a little stronger than the FAMAS was, but and it doesn't have way more kick to it, just like a little bit more. It's not as accurate from the hip though. It kind of sprays all over the place from the hip. It has a little bit more ammo capacity though. But yeah, I don't know. We're in round 18 right now, and even as I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself like, it's not that bad. I mean, round 18, and I'm taking stuff out. I mean, I kind of have to spray into them, but that's good for points too. So I guess there's some advantages to this weapon. But now the upgrade, I'm not as impressed with the upgrade as I was with the FAMAS. I like the sight. Again, I think the sight works for this weapon. And it increases the damage. And the damage, when increased for this weapon, pretty much keeps it useful way into the later rounds. Again, I don't know if I would use this as like my main. This may be like a really good secondary. It's kind of on the edge. I guess it depends on your gameplay style. It could really go either way with this weapon. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty good weapon, and I definitely recommend using it. The Commando is a fully auto rifle. It holds 30 rounds and takes 3 seconds to reload. This upgrades to the Predator, which has a larger ammo capacity, has a dual mag, and increases the damage. Okay, well, the Commando is actually is a pretty good weapon. I really like it. It kind of plays like the M16 upgraded, because it's a lot like the M16 but fully auto. But yeah, I like it. 30 rounds, which I think is pretty standard for an assault rifle. I think all assault rifles should be right around there. It's a pretty powerful weapon. I mean, we're only in round 6 here, but I mean, you see how easily I'm taking out the dogs. The reload time is pretty good. It's probably the fastest of the rifles, and this only gets faster with the upgrade. The dual mag, the reload speed of this weapon with the dual mag is just about as on par as if you had the speed cola, so that's pretty cool. Plus the larger ammo capacity, so you know, less of a need to reload, and the increase in damage. And yeah, so when you combine all those things, the upgrade is pretty devastating, and is definitely usable into the later rounds. It kind of falls into the same category as the upgraded Galil, in the sense that it depends on your gameplay style. You could either use this as a main weapon in the later rounds or as a really good secondary. But either way, it's a good weapon, and I recommend using it. Okay, the G11 is a 3-round burst rifle. It holds 48 rounds and takes 4 seconds to reload. This upgrades to the G11 generator. The upgrade has a larger ammo capacity, does more damage, and is fully auto. The G11. This weapon is a travesty. I don't even know where to start about why I don't like this weapon. The sight is terrible. I mean, look how restricting that sight is. I can't see anything besides what's right directly in front of me. Not crazy about it. I mean, look at the way I'm reloading this thing. What is this, a stapler? Like, I don't know. It's just, this weapon is ridiculous. And that's why I left in this footage of me dying, to showcase how terrible it is. Yeah, it's 3-round burst. It's severely underpowered. I'm only in round 6, and I'm struggling to kill zombies here. This is ridiculous. I guess the only thing I can say positive about it is the fact that it holds 48 rounds. But you need those 48 rounds because this weapon is ridiculous. And it has a severely long reload time. So, yeah, I guess you want to have 48 rounds because you don't want to reload this weapon that often. The upgrade is not a big help at all. I mean, it's fully auto, and it supposedly increases the damage, but I don't notice a big difference. I mean, yeah, I'm in round 16 right now, but I'm really struggling to take these things out, so I'm not crazy about this weapon at all, and I do not recommend it for regular use or upgraded pretty much at any point in the game unless you're desperate for ammo. The Auger is a fully auto rifle. It holds 30 rounds and reloads in 3.5 seconds. This upgrades to the Auger 50M3. The upgrade increases the damage and adds the shotgun attachment. Okay, so we go from my least favorite assault rifle to my favorite assault rifle. This weapon is awesome, and not only is it one of my favorite assault rifles, it's one of my favorite weapons for zombie mode, period. Unlike the G11, the sight that comes with this weapon is awesome. It's not as restricting. It's a little restricting, but it makes this weapon so accurate. It has a great level of power. It's very stable. It's got a built-in grip, so even firing from the hip, you're pretty good to go. 30 round capacity, so I mean, you know, pretty on par with, like I said before, what I would consider the standard for assault rifles. But this is just an awesome weapon. I mean, anyone that played Modern Warfare 2 knows that in that game, this was a light machine gun, and it pretty much plays exactly the same, except it has a much smaller ammo capacity than it did in that game. But yeah, it's an awesome weapon. And then to step it up, the upgrade for me is one of the best upgrades in the game. The increase to power is not a huge increase, but it's definitely enough to get the job done in the later rounds. But this essentially gives you 2 weapons with the upgrade. Besides the fact that you have this new and improved Auger, it's got the master key underneath of it. It's got the shotgun attachment, and the shotgun attachment for this weapon is very effective. It's just as powerful as you know, like the Spaz or something like that. So when you're running out of ammo, or even if you need to reload and maybe you don't have a chance to, just switch to the shotgun. And the shotgun attachment holds 6 rounds, and when you're reloading it, you load 2 rounds at a time. So even if you only have a chance to literally reload just that one time, you're going to shove 2 rounds in there, and that's enough to take some stuff out. I mean, here I am in round 16, and you're watching me one-shot zombies with the shotgun. It doesn't have a long distance. It's definitely one of the more short-range shotguns, I think, especially since there is no sight to aim down. But it's still a devastating attachment, and basically makes it a weapon all on its own. So yeah, guys, I guess to summarize the assault rifles, they're very balanced weapons. You know, it's like that right in between space between the SMGs and the LMGs, and very versatile. Decent mobility. You know, everything's like mid-range with it. You know, the distance is mid-range, the firing rate usually, the mobility. They're probably one of the better weapons to have, at least as a really powerful secondary. So I recommend using at least one assault rifle during your gameplay. It works great for me. Hopefully it works great for you. Laters.